Hello viewers, myself is Dr. Neeta and you are watching my channel Learn Literature with Dr. Neeta. So let us begin today's topic.
So hello dear students, today we would learn about narrative techniques. It is the part 4th of the title narrative techniques. In my previous videos I have talked about plot, art of characterization and other narrative techniques. But in this video we would discuss about foreshadowing, flash forward and flash backward. So, what is foreshadowing? A foreshadowing is a literary technique that is used by authors to hint at or to suggest future events or development in a story. So, if the author is trying to say something about the future, he wants to break the narrative line, he wants to break the storyline from present to future, then he uses this technique of foreshadowing. And how he used to give certain hints or clues uh, in a plot to give clues to what is to come later in the story. So he predicts or he gives certain clues by which the reader comes to know what would happen in future in the story. It involves using subtle clues. For that purpose, subtle clues are used. Those clues are not apparently visible in the storyline, but they remain hidden. Or the writer says the thing in a roundabout manner. He hints at certain things, and there may be certain indications that foreshadow upcoming events of the plot. With the use of this technique, the author creates anticipation. He compels the reader to anticipate what would happen in future. It also increases suspense, and as the suspense increases, the story definitely becomes quite entertaining for the reader. It enhances the curiosity and also a sense of inevitability for the readers. The moment the reader catches on the foreshadowing, the moment he realizes that there are certain clues or hints, he begins to anticipate impending events. This crafted anxiety compels the reader to continue because he wants to know if his guess is correct or not. What happens as there are certain hints or clues, the reader would definitely anticipate what would happen in future, and it just gives rise to a kind of anxiety in him, and the reader would continue to read the story or see the drama which is going to be played on the stage, and he would definitely wait for the moment when he may decide whether his guess was right or it was wrong. In a way, reader becomes more emotionally involved in the story and characters, and in this way it is a technique which provides the opportunity to the writer that he may make the reader emotionally involved in the story and the different characters of the story. Now, the writer make use of dialogues for the purpose of foreshadowing. He uses these kind of things. He uses dialogues, symbolism, setting, atmosphere, dreams or vision, prophecies, etc. for foreshadowing. So, if he wants to use this technique, he would either use it through dialogues, or he would use symbolism, or he would give certain hint or clue in the setting and atmosphere of the story, or there may be chances that some character is having a vision or a dream, or it is a prophecy made by someone. These are the things which are used for foreshadowing. uh, it enhances dramatic irony. When the writer is using foreshadowing, it definitely enhances dramatic irony, because sometimes this happens. What happens? The readers possess knowledge that is not with the character. So that would obviously happen. The characters of the story are unaware about certain facts, while the reader knows them very well, because they have been predicted or they have been hinted at by the writer in the storyline. Obviously, it leads to the tension and emotional involvement. And when such a kind of thing is happening, It leads to tension and emotional involvement of the reader. Effective foreshadowing is one of these is that is subtle enough to surprise reader and clear enough for them to recognize the hints in it. Now, how foreshadowing could be used? This is a question. If you are going to read a story, you would have to find out because this foreshadowing is always subtle. If it is subtle, it is successful. It should not be a direct way of saying something, but it would be a roundabout way of projecting or saying something. And when it is subtle, it definitely surprises the reader, but it should be clear so that they may recognize the hint and may interpret them according to themselves. Now another device that is there, that is flash forward. Flash forward is also a narrative device where the story briefly jumps ahead in the time to show a glimpse of the events or the scene that will occur in future. There is a little bit difference. Uh, I would later on let you know. First, understand what is flash forward, and later we would discuss about the difference between both these uh, difference between difference between foreshadowing and flash forward. We would discuss later on. So, it is also a here the storyline briefly jumps ahead in time and show the glimpse of the events or scene that will occur in future. It means here hints are not given that it may come in future. Rather, the story is jumping ahead in time, jumping forward, so that the readers may have the glimpse or the events that will occur in future. After the flash forward sequence is complete, the story returns to its present timeline. Here, in this flash forward, when the story is moving forward in future and then it is going back again in the present timeline, this happens. The information revealed in flash forward may be real or imagined, but it is related to future. Of course, the information that has been provided when the storyline is jumping ahead of the time, the information may be real or it may be imagined. Generally, a flash forward is a short scene revealing something important about a character, setting, plot, or idea before it actually happens. So, what happens in flash forward? It is often a short scene. In that short scene, something would be revealed, and that revelation would either be related to some character, or the revelation may be related to some setting, or this revelation may be related to something related to plot, or that revelation may be related to any idea. It not only imparts important information to the audience but also creates suspense on the part of the audience. So, this device also creates a kind of suspense. So, what is the significance of flash forward? It highlights artistry of the writer in developing a complex plot. As all of you know, that to engage the reader, it is essential that the plot should be complex, and the complexity of the plot is increased when the people are using or the writers are using this device of flash forward. It encourages the audience to be creative while experiencing the story by making inferences. Here, the creativity of audience also increased because they are making inferences of the things that have been depicted related to future. It promotes anticipation. Obviously, when some future incident is going to be shown, and then the audience would definitely anticipate, and it would enhance their excitement that what would happen next in audience, which in turn make the story more engaging, and in this way the story becomes more engaging and more attractive, and the readers would definitely read such kind of a story because what they anticipated, they would definitely try to know whether it was right or wrong. The device is commonly used in short stories, novels. Nowadays, it is quite popular in science fiction, fantasy, speculative fiction, etc. Nowadays this device is quite common in science fiction because they predict what would happen in future, and they are making it the part of the present story line. So in fantasy and science fiction, this device is normally used nowadays. Now, what is the difference between foreshadowing and flash forward? And now look at that difference. Foreshadowing is a literary device in which the writer gives subtle hints or clues about the events. Events are not shown, rather the hints are given, clues are given that are going to take place in future. But what happens here? In flash forward, it is a literary device in which the story or plot jumps. It means hints are not there. Rather, the things are going on. Rather, the things have been presented ahead to the future of the event. It takes the reader directly to an action that happens in the future. Here in foreshadowing, action is not there, rather, the hints are given only. But in flash forward, the story moves forward. It means the action continues and the story moves forward. Foreshadowing is used by the writer to prepare the reader for some shocking twist. So, foreshadowing is used for some shocking twist in the story and to shift the mood of the story. While flash forward promotes anticipation and excitement in the audience, though anticipation is also there in foreshadowing, but that anticipation is not of that extent. Excitement in the audience. It highlights artistry of the writer in developing a complex plot structure. Here, the plot in foreshadowing plot structure is not going to be disturbed because the future events are merely uh, given with the help of certain subtle hints or certain symbols or certain clues. Rather, the story is taking place. The story is moving forward in future in flash forward. Now, another device is flashback. A flashback is a narrative technique commonly used to interrupt the chronological flow of the story and present the events that occurred in the past. As flash forward is talking about the things that would happen in future. Similarly, flashback is talking about the things that had already happened in past. For example, the story has started at some point of time, and if the reader is trying if the writer wants that the reader should also know about the past events or about the past things that had happened with the character, he would definitely use the device of flashback. Flashback provides backstory. It means the story of the past, and it deepens character development. When you would come to know about the past happenings of a character, then your understanding of the character would definitely deepen. And it sometimes offer context to the current events. If the current events are based on or are the consequences of the past events, then it is essential for the writer to talk about or to just incorporate in the story those past events, and this he can do only through flashback. Flashbacks are strategically placed within the main narrative. They are the part of the main narrative, and there is some strategy with which they are placed within that main narrative, either in the beginning or in the middle or towards the end. It would depend on the choice or the strategy of the writer where he wants to put those flashbacks, either in the beginning, middle, or end, to reveal the critical piece of information. But one thing is very clear, that in flashback some critical piece of information would be given to the reader. Flashbacks are often triggered by a particular event. Then where to put that flashback? This is the question. Where the writer would put that flashback? That flash would be triggered by a particular event that has taken place in the present. Either it is an event that has triggered and the author has put that in that place, or it is an object, or even a conversation in the present may trigger that the writer may put a flashback at that place. After the flashback sequence is complete, the story returns to the present timeline. It means the writer is talking about the present, or the story is moving in present. Now the flashback is there, and after that flashback is complete, the story would come in the present timeline. This also happens in uh, when the story is about future that I told you. Even then, the story returns to the present timeline. Now, the significance of flashback, it helps the audience or the reader to better understand character. The understanding of character would be enhanced, and they would be able to understand the actions of those different characters and the choices that the characters are making in the present. They can be better understood if they are having some flashback knowledge regarding those characters. It also enhances plot complexity by revealing crucial information about the plot, such as some hidden secret of the past. The plot would definitely become complex when we are moving back in the past and coming to know about the different characters and the different stories that were related to past, and they are making their impact in the present also. Then it would definitely make the plot complex, and the complex plot definitely engages the reader more. It is a kind of challenge, it is a kind of feast to the reader, that he may realize, or he directly gets engaged with the story. It gives a twist to the plot. Sometimes it also may give twist to the plot and changes the reader's perspective on the narrative. So for example, if the reader is thinking about some character that he is not good, why he is behaving in that manner, but when he comes to know the reality that his present behavior is the outcome of his past events, and in past he was not that much cruel, or he was not that much rubbish kind of person as he is behaving now. So his perception changes when he comes to know that in past certain things have happened with him, and the past can be told merely by the flashback. Though in this way, the flashback may also change the perspective of the reader towards the character, towards the incident, towards the plot. So flashback is used by the dramatist, if it is a drama, or the writer, as a flexible and creative tool to experiment with the narrative structure. So it is a tool with the writer, which he uses according to his need, and he incorporate it, or he uses this tool when he is setting the narrative structure, or he wants to create a tension, or he wants to add different layers of meaning to the story. Then such device like flash forward or flash backward are used. So thank you for your patience listening. I think you may be able to understand all these things, all these devices, and you should definitely see the other videos that are there on the narrative techniques or devices. So thanks for your patience listening.